Aloha! Sorry for the interruption of the fifth series of our podcast. Welcome to Legends, a limited number of episodes featuring iconic surfers, shaper of our surf history. We hope you're going to enjoy them. I have to say, it was a true honor for me to interview them. Aloha! Welcome to the first episode of our Legends series. Today with us from California, legendary surfboard shaper and business owner Bing Copeland. We discuss with him about how he influenced surfing, his career, and much more. Hello, Mr. Bing. Welcome to the show. Where are you today?
Well, Alessandro, I'm in the mountains of Idaho, specifically Sun Valley, Idaho, a skiing resort town. Not that I ski anymore, but this is where I am, and we have about 3 feet of snow outside, and about 35 degrees today.
Not bad, not bad. It's cold. I like that thing, snow and everything else. So I'm sure you have a great place over there. Today we're going to talk about so many things. Of course, about your incredible history, and I'm sure you will share with me and with the audience some of the stories. But the first question that I have for you is, in your opinion, what is the most important thing in surfing?
Well, I would say to be friendly with your surfing companions and anybody else in the water. Today's the way it's crowded today, it's difficult. But back in my day, there were so few of us in the water. It was pretty easy to be friends with everybody around you. So I'd say just be friendly.
Yeah, I think is so important, and I guess the friendship that we all make in the water are there to last forever, right? Most of them. You can find really true friends in the water among surfers. Of course, if somebody's upset at you, it's difficult to be friend. But I would say the most of the time, no, it's those are the friendship that are the more dear to me, at least.
I would say when I was growing up, there were so few people surfing that it was very, very rare that there was a difficulty with another surfer.
Exactly. Actually, you were all there to protect each other, right? If something was happening, yeah, you were there for each other, right? Supporting and helping.
Exactly. I grew up with Greg Knoll. Greg Knoll and I both started in 1949 at the Manhattan Beach Pier in California, and we've been competitors and we've been good friends all of our lives. So sad that he's gone now. But go ahead.
It's very sad. No, actually, you read my mind, because actually I wanted to ask you, because I read about that you grew up surfing with Greg Knoll. I had the opportunity to interview him like 2 years ago now, and he was a formidable man. It's a true gentleman and a funny person for what I experienced in half an hour. But I want to hear from you. What is the best memory that you have of that time with surfing with Greg Knoll?
Oh, there's so many. I couldn't say. I would say surfing the first day at Waimea Bay, perhaps, would be one. Another one was we were surfing at this was when we were very young. We were surfing at the Ventura Overhead, and I was we were on Simmons boards. This was before Velzy even was building boards. And I remember paddling out to the break, and Greg had just got wiped out, and he was swimming in for his board. Of course, we didn't have leashes in those days. And he goes, "Help me, get me out of here." So I put him on my board, and we paddled tandem in to get his board. But he was scared that day, and the famous Greg Knoll was scared.
Oh my God! It happens also to the best, right? To get scared some days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I think also the age, it played an important role in that, right? You were kids, as you said.
There's so many things. We were both young. I think I was 13 or 14 at the most. Greg was a year younger than I, and so we we naturally, since we were the only two young guys surfing at the Manhattan Pier, we had a lot of fun experiences together during that period.
And you were talking about surfboards, and of course, like I guess at that time, the surfboard that you and all the rest of the guys had, they were pretty heavy, right? Kind of uh, balsa board, or not even like maybe redwood boards. What was your first proper surfboard? Like the one that was yours and that you waited maybe to buy somewhere? Do you remember that
Well,
board?
my very first surfboard was a paddleboard that my father made in the garage, and out of plywood, all hollow. His fishtail didn't have a fin on it. I went down in front of my house and tried it, and I was just falling off and sliding around, and it was going sideways, and I came in kind of discouraged. I was walking up the beach, take the board home, and the lifeguard saw me, and he walked over and he said, if you put some wax on the top of that, you won't slide around so much. And if you put a fin on the back, maybe it won't go sideways. So I went home, and with my erector set, angle irons, and a piece of masonite, I made a fin, and my mother gave me a candle, and I rubbed the candle on the deck, and I went back down the next day, and it worked better. And I remember I finally caught a wave and stood up and didn't curl. And but the board was, by then it was filling with water and getting heavy, and it wasn't good. So, but that was my very first surfboard.
But that definitely, you started early into the, let's say, not shaping surfboard in this particular case, but making surfboard, because you took something that your father made and you try to perfect it, right? Or to make it work, let's say. So
yeah, well, my father had a hardware store, and he was pretty handy with his hands, and I learned a lot from him as far as fixing things and just using my hands and tools.
So it comes from there, the fact that at a certain point you decided to shape your own surfboards, right?
Well, I didn't really think about shaping my own surfboard for a long time because I was growing up with Velzy, and on Velzy, when he started building balsa boards, that was right about 1950, I guess, 50, 51, when he opened a shop. And so I would hang out in his shop, and I would help. I would he would draw the templates on the balsa boards, and I'd stand up on them and use a big old saw and saw the templates out. And he taught me how to not go across the line and all that kind of stuff. So I learned a lot just hanging around watching, but I never really thought about shaping my own board until 1956, 67, something like that. It was actually, I was in 1955 to 55 to 57, I was in the Coast Guard in Hawaii.
Wow.
And when I was off duty, we would surf at Ala Moana, and that's the yacht harbor, and we got to be friends with a yacht owner, and he asked us when we got out of the Coast Guard, asked us if we wanted to go sailing around the world with him. So we said, sure. So after 2 years in the Coast Guard, we spent the next year on the yacht sailing to Tahiti and Samoa and Bora Bora. We ended up in 1959, was it? Christmas, I think, just about Christmas time in 1959 in Auckland, New Zealand.
Wow.
And so we met some guys on the dock there, and they said there was some surf on the other side at Piha, on the Tasman side. And so they drove us over there, and actually we had our balsa Velzy boards with us at this time. We actually introduced modern day surfboards to New Zealand that year. And so when we went out surfing, first of all, they told us, well, our waves are very dangerous here. We'll send a couple of boys out on surf skis to make sure you're okay. And we said, okay. So we paddled out, and, it looked like San Onofre to us. It looked pretty good. So we paddled out, and we turned turtle, to go under some white water and this and that. And we got out, and the guys with the surf skis were having trouble getting through the 6-foot waves, And so anyway, we rode 4 or 5 waves apiece, kind of playing around, kind of showing off, surfing next to each other, going behind and stuff like that. And when we came in, these New Zealand Kiwis, the guys were in the water up to their necks going, give me a go, mate. They wanted to try our boards. So we saw a need for surfboards there. And since we hung around Belzy's Surf Shop, we thought we had the experience. So we found some materials, and turns out all we could find was styrofoam and epoxy resin for the fiberglass. So it was kind of difficult to make them, and they were fairly crude, the first ones, but we shaped them right there at the surf club on the beach, and we made probably 8 or 10 boards for the local guys before it was time for us to go back to California and our lifestyle job. So
wow,
that's where I started.
That's a great start. And actually, the amazing thing is that you were traveling the world as a Coast Guard office, but you were traveling in amazing places back then. And so it's a fantastic experience. And then you end up doing 9 boards for the local guys. So you made up at also doing some business. So it was quite interesting story. But thank you a lot. Thanks so much for sharing. I was trying to imagining what you were saying, how it was like for you to surf over there, and all these people looking at you and say, "Wow!" So definitely,
it was a wonderful experience. It really was. Pretty good for your ego to go into a beach where nobody's seen surfing or surfboards like ours.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden you're their heroes.
Exactly.
It was pretty good, and the girls liked our American accent.
So that was a total 100% score, basically. You were young, surfing. You were the best of the people over there, and all the girls, they were also liking your American accent. So, oh my God, perfect trip.
It was pretty good for a couple of 21-year-olds. Yeah.
I guess so. These experiences do not happen anymore, right? I don't think it will be easy to find a beach where there is no surfer.
No, I know, not these days.
No. Maybe
in fact, China. It was only in those days too. In California, there was only maybe a handful of girls that surfed. And now there's so many girls and they're surfing so well. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and much better than the men.
Exactly. Much better to watch.
Yeah, exactly, because they put a lot more than under the men. I was discussing with Fred Campton of the California National Museum of Surf, and he was telling me, Alessandro, the girls out there, they are maybe less than the men, but they're surfing much better than all of us men out there. So he's right, yeah. Definitely.
I'm really impressed with our sales shop in California. I would say probably 40% of the boards that are sold out, the new boards that are sold out of the front of the shop, are to girls nowadays.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It keeps up your legacy, and it transforms into a different kind of consumer or a surfer, and it's amazing. And in fact, if we jump forward to today, actually, I will jump back backwards again. But if we jump forward of today, the Bing name is managed by Calvani and his wife, right?
Yeah, Matt and Margaret, right?
Matt and Margaret. How does in your opinion, how does your legacy lives on in Bing today?
Well, you have to think about the period when the shortboards came in the early 70s, 1970s. Shortboards came in and kind of basically it ruined it for us major manufacturers, both Jacobs, Greg Knoll, Dewey Weber, myself. We all basically quit because we couldn't. There wasn't enough. The older surfers didn't want to go into shortboards, so a lot of those guys just quit surfing, and so our sales base went so far down that. And this was also during the drug era and in the hippie era, and it was cool for backyard builders to build their own boards and no label boards and this and that. So it was difficult for us to run a real commercial business. I had a factory. We all had factories, and we had overhead and this and that. And when the sales dropped, we all quit. Like Hanson or no Hobie. No, I'm sorry. Dewey Weber. Hap Jacobs and Greg Knoll all went fishing, deep sea commercial fishing.
Yeah.
And I moved to Idaho at that time, 1974, and went into another business. And so for 10, 15 years, we didn't really. None of us. We weren't commercial at that point, and it wasn't until late 90s, I guess, early 2000s, that the interest started coming back into longboarding. And that's when it was the year 2000 that I ran into Matt Calvani on the beach in Mexico, where I had a house. And he mentioned that he would like to build my boards again. So I said, Mike Eaton was building my boards, in San Diego, but I would ask him. And I did on my trip back up to San Diego, and Mike said, "Sure, tell him, come on down. I'll give him all the stuff, and he can go with it." So that's how that started with Matt, and then Matt and Margaret. Well, Matt first of all was just Matt, and he was. I found out that he had been shaping for Jacob and for Becker, surfboards, and that he was a good shaper. So I was excited that he wanted to bring back the Bing brand. That's hard to say. So he did, and in this last 20-some years that we've been together, he and Margaret both have become like family to me. So we have a wonderful relationship, and it's really enjoyable.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely. And the boards are just like keep being amazing, right? They were amazing in the past, and they're still amazing today, right? A beautiful,
exactly, yeah,
beautiful
surfboards
to ride.
It was neat that Matt, he was interested in the boards of the past, and it was in that he recreated some of the same boards, and then as time goes on, you improve on them and this and that. But he had a good grasp of my era, so it worked out real well.
Definitely, yeah. Actually, you said something very important. I think, in a certain way, he was connected with the era where you were coming from, let's say, and so because of that connection, he's able to keep the name of being not alive per se, but to continue the tradition. Let's put it this way, right?
Exactly.
And in your life, you met a lot of surfers. Was there a meeting with one of them that was particularly meaningful for you?
I would have to say Velzy.
Oh wow, yes.
Velzy was like my mentor, and I learned a lot from him. And in fact, I went from 13, 14 years old with him up until so he was more like a father image, although he was, he had such a great personality, and so I learned things from him that my father wouldn't teach me probably.
Okay. Okay, so he's a kind of second father figure in a different way, of course.
Exactly, yeah.
And among like all the models that you were shaping back then, was there a particular one that you really like more than the others? I know that they are kind of all like your sons, but was there a particular model that you are really like, oh, I really like to shape this one?
Well, probably our most successful one would be the one that I like the most, and because I really did enjoy the board, and that was the David Nueva nose rider
Yeah,
that we
fantastic.
made, with a concave nose and a kick in the tail, and just the model the way we built it. Actually, it was designed by Donald Takayama and myself. Donald was shaping for me at the time. In fact, he brought David in and said, let's make him a model too. So at that point, I had two models, the Takayama model and the David Nueva model. But that David Nueva Nose Rider just was a board that worked really well. I mean, it wasn't the fastest board in the world, but as far as nose riding and turning, and it just was a fun, easy board to ride. So
Yeah.
That would be my favorite board.
And then there was also the personality of David Nuaiva, right? Because I had the opportunity to interview him. He was like such like a different surfer, right? Out there, right? It was quite, like rock and roll, lifestyle, cars.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was a little difficult to handle at times, but we got along fine.
I guess so. I guess so.
Yeah.
So I started the interview asking you what was the most important thing in surfing. If I had to ask you the same, but for shaping, what would you answer me? What is the most important thing in shaping, in your opinion?
I think consistency more than anything. As far as when we had the David Nueva model, I had like 4 different shapers shaping because we had so many orders. I had like 4 different guys shaping the same model. And so each guy kind of has his own, his own technique, his own this and that. So basically the boards didn't come out as consistent, the shapes. They were all good, but they were, a little different here. One guy would have a little thinner rail or a little, a little this or a little that. And I think the advent of the shaping machine really solved the problem of keeping the models consistent.
Yeah.
We didn't have them in my day. We didn't have shaping machines. We didn't use them. I just had like 3 or 4 guys shaping those boards, and they would come out a little bit different each one, but it was okay.
Yeah, it's part of the craftsmanship, right? Craftsmanship also means that everything is the same, but a little different. And I like it actually in that way myself,
Well, yeah.
A lot of people would say, no, the machine is creating perfection. But, I guess also talking with other shapers, you could recognize who shaped that board, right?
Right. But there is the feeling that if you ride a board, that say you ride a friend's board and you like it, and you want to get one just like it, if it comes off the shaping machine, you're pretty good chance the board's going to ride just the same. If it's shaped by a different shaper, or even sometimes the same shaper, It could come out a little bit different each time. So.
Exactly. And plus, there is all the topic of shaping something for surfer, according to his capabilities and to his. But that we enter into the custom orders, right? Where surfer wants a little bit more than just the board, right? Something to improve. The shaper helps the surfer to surf better. And that, of course, is another business. It's not anymore like shaping in multiple. Is really the relationship between a shaper and a surfer in order to improve the surf, of the person.
Right.
And that's important as well.
I agree. That's important, especially to the good surfers that know what they want when they come in and stand by you while you're shaping their board. I've done that. That was my favorite thing to do, was to shape boards for some of our team members and friends and people that wanted me to shape their board. I didn't like production shaping. I didn't like going in and shaping 5 boards every day that were just going to be an inventory. I enjoyed, one-on-one with a guy and talking to him and building a board for him. So that was fun. But production shaping was a job. It wasn't as much fun as individual.
It's a business. it's numbers.
Well, when we were doing like 40 surfboards a day, I really didn't have time to shape. I was so busy making sure all the materials were coming, all the tools were working, and people were showing up on time, and just running the business. I really didn't have time to shape much. I did on occasion for people that wanted me to, and what I really enjoyed was designing new models. That was fun, as opposed to doing production.
Okay. So you are more into the design, and interesting. And
that was more my deal.
And what you would say that your most memorable design was the one of you just said to me about David Nuaiva, or no? Which design?
It changes as time goes on, and the board or develop into something different. Like when the nose rider came along, that was fun to design that. And then after that, we had the lightweight, which we eliminated the concave, still a good nose riding board, a little lighter, and would be a little faster, surfed really well. And then we went on to all these different models and stuff. It was just, as the times change, you have to change.
Oh, definitely. And talking about shapers and longboarding, you said, of course, the name of Donald Takayama, that he was working as well with you. So what is your best memory of Donald?
He's a good craftsman. He was his shaping style was a little different. He made his rails a little sharper than the rest of us did. Sharper. I don't know. He had a style, but he was very consistent in his shaping, and he always was good. But he was not fast. And when he was working with me, he shaped every Donald Takayama board we made. We didn't have anybody else shape his model.
It took his time, as you said. He's a craftsman, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
Reading about you all over the internet, people are referring to you as a legend. Do you consider yourself one?
Oh, looking back on it and the whole history, perhaps we were legends in like Greg and I and Hobie and Belzy and all these guys are all legends, but in the small world of surfing, not in the large world of the world, the large overlook of the whole world. But in the surfing world, I guess we were considered legends. None of us really ever felt that way ourselves, personally.
Yeah, your answer is quite similar to the one that Greg Knoll gave me, he said to me, Alessandro, we were just a bunch of guys surfing, doing our things. And do I consider myself a legend? I don't know. He told me, if you say so. If you say so, I said, I'm not the person that can say if a person is a legend. But what he wanted to mean is that it was a totally different era, and you were just all you guys were doing your own things, right?
Yeah. Looking back on it, I guess we are considered legends, but at the time we had no idea what we were doing. We were just a bunch of fun hogs having a good time.
Yeah. Actually, and that is important thing, even today, having a good time, in whatever we do as a persons, as a surfers or not surfers. If you have a good time in whatever you do, is great, right? It's great for
right. I agree.
Psychology and things. Okay, fantastic. So in your opinion, last question, and then I will do just a short Q&A, question and answer, to finish our interview. But in your opinion, was the defining moment of your career?
I would say the mid '60s when we could sell. We all in California could sell. The wholesaling had just opened up on the East Coast, and we all could sell as many boards as we could make, and it was just a good time. We really, it was crazy, and it was fun, and it wasn't very stressful because the only stress was getting enough boards out. So it was. I would say that's the most defining time for me, was the mid '60s when surfing was just exploding everywhere.
And it's something that is happening also today. If we look at the COVID times, and we look at the market in US, surfing is booming again. Of course, not like in the '60s, but it's quite a lot. It's difficult to get a surfboard nowadays. There is a lot of time to wait, and a lot of people in the water.
Well, yeah, it certainly has. I mean, it's grown quite a bit. I think the wave machines and some of these wave parks and stuff like that, it's made it's wonderful.
Yeah. And the Olympics. So many things happen to surf and surf culture in the meantime. So a lot of things to discover as well in the future. We're going to finish our interview with a short Q&A session, so question and answer. Please answer the first thing that comes up to your mind, okay?
Okay.
The best surfboard that you ever ridden?
It's hard to say. I've ridden all of them. So I would say my favorite surfboard was the David Nuuhiwa lightweight that I enjoyed riding.
Your favorite shaper of all time? I'm sure I know the answer, but I ask you again.
Well, I've had so many shapers that work for me, it's hard to say. The favorite one of all time has to be Velvet.
Exactly. I knew the answer. I was expecting that. Personal question, your favorite song or music, kind of music?
I'm really not a guy that's into a lot of music, but I enjoy Hawaiian music, Hawaiian flat key guitar music. I played flat key guitar for a while, and that's my favorite music to listen to.
Oh, fantastic! Your favorite surf spot?
Favorite surf spot would have to be a left. I think I've had probably as much fun at the Redondo Breakwater in California on a good day.
Okay. Your favorite surfer of all time?
He never rode. He may have ridden a thingboard, but he didn't ever ride for me or anything. But I would say Mike Doyle would be my favorite surfer.
Okay.
For not only his surfing, but his lifestyle and his personality.
Fantastic. And the last question is a little bit unusual. It's not about surfing or shaping, but I ask everybody here on the show. I like to know your best relationship advice.
Well, to get along with each other, to understand each other, to help each other, to love each other. We were married for 59 years, so I think ours worked out pretty well. We had 3 great children and 6 great-grandchildren.
So this is what I meant about relationship, I think your suggestion is quite good, It's amazing, actually, It's if we all do that, we were able to keep maybe it would be my dream to be 59 years with my wife. So I take your advice and I'll try to put in reality, in action.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bing, for being with me on the show today. And I look forward to talk to you very soon.
Okay, Alessandro, thank you very much. I enjoyed it, and good luck to you in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I wish you a great day. Thank you. Hi, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed our today's episode. If you want to know more about us, please follow www.thetempleofsurf.com and all our social media. Mahalo!